Watch me take this Nerf gun and turn it into the Magnum from Halo Reach. Let's go. I made a blueprint for this in Illustrator to mark out my design, and then the first thing that needed to be done was to cut off all the extra bits and bits that didn't fit the shape of the Magnum. Once this was done, I filled in all of the recesses that needed filling with a Milliput, which is a 2-part epoxy putty. The pieces that make up the main body of the gun were all cut out of varying thicknesses of MDF, and any gaps were filled in again with Milliput. I actually got this as a Christmas present over 4 years ago, and this was originally a lockdown project, so it's a bit overdue. At this point it's starting to take shape, but we need to add in all the details and extra bits. The first of these was this raised part on the grip, which has a sort of crisscross pattern, which happened to be the exact same markings as on a foam kids playmat, so I cut the shape out of it and glued it on. Next up was to sand all the bevels and edges into the pieces that you saw earlier. The last main piece of construction was this bit on the front of the gun here. I cut the base shape for this out of this tumor looking piece of foam I had lying around from leaving something heavy on top of the nozzle of a can of expanding foam. I refined the shape with a knife and a file and then used epoxy putty again to create a nice hard shell. With this, the base shape was complete, and all that was left to do was add in all the little details and greeblies, as you can see here. I had originally intended on making multiples of these, so I'd cast all the parts in resin. I'm not going to do that now, so that was a bit of a waste of money, but it does give the gun a nice weight to it, so money well spent, I guess. To paint it, I hit the whole thing with a generous coat of filler primer, then covered it in a coat of matte black, masked off the bits that were going to stay black, and painted the rest in aluminium. With the base colours down, I just needed to add in some details and weathering. I used a steel colour just to add in some different metal colours to give it a bit more variation on the grip and the handle and stuff like that. Some red for the bits that would have lights in the game. And lastly, I masked off this top bit, dabbed on some candy yellow, and then used a piece of cling film to take up some of the paint and create a kind of damaged speckled look. And lastly, we dry brushed on some aluminium again on the darker parts, and here's the final result. In the end, I'm really happy with how this one came out. It's fully functional and it makes a really nice sound when you load it quick. To access the loading port, you just need to slide the top bit back like this and slot the rival balls in. The only slight problem I came across was that during the making process I must have slightly damaged either the priming or the trigger mechanism a little bit, as now it doesn't always fire every time. Sometimes it takes multiple primes, as you can see here, which isn't ideal, but hey, I'm still quite happy with it.